is the equation involved. So we have a lot of mean effective pressure, but usually we only at this course we only focus on the brake mean effective pressure, for example. Yeah. So this is some of the equation involved on how we want to relate this to the other parameter. And then this is the main part. So in terms of the power, so we have indicated power, we have brake power, we have a friction power, so lots of power. So basically when you want to buy a car, you will get the we call it engine spec or the brochure, right? So when you have a brochure, you will look at the back of the brochure, what is the power or the horsepower of the engine, how much torque it will produce. So all these figure, all these value, they have a way, they have methodology to get this measurement. So at the end of the day, you as an engineer, you will be able to appreciate the value, how big is the value, and how in engineering basis how we measure this thing. Okay, so this is some of the common graph that represent the engine performance. So the first one is the power or engine power in kilowatt, and sometimes in horsepower. So it depends on the unit. So here definitely and clearly shows that when you have displacement volume higher, then you have your brake power larger than the lower displacement volume. And then same goes to torque. So if you have higher engine CC or higher engine capacity, definitely the torque produced will be higher. So during this course, so during this module, you need to produce this kind of graph. Okay? You need to plot the torque, you need to plot the power, and what equation we use. So I will give the detail, the raw data, for example, for 1.5 liter engine with the bore size like this, and then the compression ratio with this value, and the fuel ratio 15, for example. So at this certain speed, plot at this certain temperature, for example, plot from 1000 up to 7000 RPM, how the torque, power, efficiency look like. So that kind of thing that you will produce in the following week. Yeah. So this is some of the equation related to the parameter like a specific power, output displacement, okay, and all the detail. Yeah. Okay, when we talk about torque and power, usually we will use dynamometer. So dynamometer is a machine that measures the torque. In other words, this dynamometer will give the load to the engine. So from there, we manage to measure how much torque is generated from the engine. So we have two or three type of dynamometer. So this is part of it that I want you to include in your report later on, so that it shows that in the module at least you understand a little bit how the measurement will be performed. Yeah. Okay, this is some setup. You also need to put some other setup in your report later on to show. Okay, basically this is the engine that we measure. We want to measure what is the torque and what is the power produced by this engine. So with that, we need to have a dynamometer. So this is the engine dynamometer at the back here. So this dynamometer will grip your crankshaft. The crankshaft will resist. Okay, and then from there we have a sensor that measures the torque produced by the engine. Then over here is the like a cooling water for the dyno and for the engine as well, so to control in terms of the temperature. And then all this is like instrumentation. 100 of sensor will be installed, and then to measure the detail temperature, pressure, and everything. But in your case, if we are not do any measurement, so the data will be given to you. Then what we need to do is just more on the analysis, how to calculate the certain parameters, then what equation involved in order to plot all the graph. Okay. So apart from power, BMEP, torque, we also have engine efficiencies. Before the engine efficiency, we have fuel ratios. Okay. So what do you understand about fuel ratio? We have and then how to measure or how to calculate the FU ratio, basically based on mass flow rate. Right? So this the value will be given later. I will give you, for example, probably what is the mass of the engine, or the mass air, what is the mass of the fuel. So from there, you need to calculate what is your FU ratio at certain RPM. Will be various speed of the engine RPM. And this is a sample of the FU ratio. So you have two different main group. You have a group A and group B, and then I think in group A you have three small groups, and in group B also you have three or two small groups. So probably on the group A, I will give you for the gasoline engine. Group B focus on the diesel engine. So you will have two different. All right. So this is kind of graph that you need to plot as well. For example, lambda, or maybe the FU ratio. What is the lambda compared to the equivalent ratio? And then what is the lambda compared to the FU ratio? And then if you see here in terms of the engine speed, it's not a constant value, it's a various value. Okay. And then apart from that is another important value is brake specific fuel consumption. So you need to plot this versus RPM. So all the result that I will give you, and then all the plot that you need to do is based on wide open throttle. In other words, at the full load condition. So this is some of the curve for some of the engine proton. So you can see here at the full load what is the value. So from there you can plot. Okay, but for the engine efficiency, so you need to know what is the equation for thermal efficiency, what is the equation for the volumetric efficiency, and what is the common value for the volumetric efficiency, so that when you plot for the natural aspirated engine, you will get probably about 7% or 90%. That's normal. If natural aspirated engine, you get 120% or 130% based on your calculation. So that doesn't make sense, because that one is not turbo. If turbo engine, then yes, the volumetric efficiency will be higher than 100%. So this is some of the example of thermal efficiency, the curve. So this is the thing that you need to plot in your report later on. This is volatile efficiency. So I put the equation here so that you can put more in your report later on. Okay. And then this is just to show you the pattern of the engine torque and also the volumetric efficiency. Basically, these two things, these two parameters in terms of the shape of the graph is almost the same, because the engine need more air. So if you can supply more air to the engine, you can get more torque. So that's a simple equation. Yeah. And then of course you need to look also in terms of air density. So if you have more density, then it gives you more volumetric efficiency. So this is just the standard for the air density calculation. Okay, so the report that you need to submit. Okay, the report should be include all these parameters, all these we call it subtopic. Okay? So the first one is introduction. So what I expect from all of you is basically introduction. You need to explain about internal combustion engine parameters. Sorry, internal combustion engine performance. What do you mean by that performance? Is it important to be determined? And then how good the performance compared to the other? Just you can create by yourself what you want to explain in this introduction. Okay. Then objective. What is the purpose of the engine performance test? And then is it benefit to the consumer? Is it benefit to the manufacturer? So you can discuss this in the objective. And then methodology. And methodology, as I showed some of the slide previously, so we have a lot of equation. Yeah. So you can put the equation, the related equation. For example, like to calculate brake power, to calculate fuel consumption, and then we can put all those equations. And then main equipment. So in the engine testing, what the main equipment that we need to have to get all the data the main data to plot to plot the graph later on. And then analysis. So this is I think the highest mark is on the analysis part. So this is, you need to show the sample of calculation. For example, to calculate the brake fuel consumption, okay, from the raw data that I will give you next week. So how you manage to calculate all those things, all those parameters, and then you need to plot the result, and from the result you need to compare, and then or you need to discuss further detail, and you can put, last one, calculation, also some of references. So when you put explanation in the introduction and objective, so it has to be based on some references. So that references can be put in the subtopic number 6. Okay. So this is some of the example, the module or the report that you need to submit. So this is the report. So on the first page, put your member's name, and then the introduction you can discuss. But this is not on engine. This is more toward on the exhaust valve flow test. Yeah. And put introduction. Put probably some of the schematic diagram, and then maybe on the theory part, if you want to put the theory. In this case, methodology, for example, you can put the detail in terms of the equation. Then objective, what do you want to this is to investigate the relationship. Okay. Then important of the study. So basically, this one you can put in the introduction. This is the old format. Eh? So this is the methodology. What is the main equipment that you use to measure the engine performance? Yeah. Procedure no need to include in your report. Okay. So this is the result. Okay. And then because this is online, so that's why a bit difficult to perform. So this is based on experimental. I show you this one. All this based on experimental. So based on your project, your module, you do 100% online. Okay? So the result, the raw result, the raw data, I will give it to you, but the main result you will calculate based on the equation that you put in your methodology. Okay, this is sample of calculation, and then you have to put the graph, plot the graph, and discussion, and then you complete with the conclusion and some of the references. Okay, guys, any question?
So doktor,
Yep.
start minggu ni ke minggu depan?
Okay, because we have 4 weeks, yeah. So this week, you just do the, call it literature review, or you do just a background study. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, in terms of how to share this slide. You can access e-learning, right? Or maybe I can share all the file in the Telegram. Is that okay? This slide.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so I will
prefer the Telegram one, sir.
Telegram, okay. So I will share all this slide I will share in the Telegram, so that you can, as a baseline, for you to study. Because this ICE subject, you also still learning this semester, but I believe most of the topic you already managed, is already completed, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. So for example, this week and early next week you can start in terms of the introduction of the engine performance test. What is the engine performance test? Okay. What is the main parameter need to be studied? Then objective, to calculate or to measure the brake power, to measure to analysis the fuel consumption, that kind of thing. And then you can put some benefit. Is basically to get what is the benefit of the engine testing. Yeah. And then methodology. Okay, you can study, or you can open the book or find out what is the main equipment and equation related to the engine performance study. Analysis, this one maybe later. Okay? Analysis, once you have the raw data, then you can do the calculation. But today you cannot do that. Maybe I just maybe you can start item 1, 2, 3 first. Maybe 3 you can do part of it. So maybe next week you can do more on the part Number 3, methodology. So you just do the study, the background study first. Understand a little bit in terms of the engine performance study. Is that okay, guys?
Doctor,
Yeah.
I have one question that we have two groups, Group A and Group B. So
Okay.
this is the group report, or every group member need to make an individual report?
Okay. The report is only one. For example, like this, yeah. Group A. Okay, this is A1. So report only one. The group leader need to submit the report to me. For example, here A1. So who's the? You have your own group leader, right? Dah ada group leader?
Nanti kot.
So up to you.
Belum bagi sir.
For example, A1. So you decide who is going to be your leader. Oh, okay. Or previously you are the lion group. Alright. It's okay. Okay, macam ni. Okay. I assign here, much easier. Okay. I assign here who is the group leader. So that group leader will take charge. Boleh?
Okay, Doctor. Thank you.
Alright. For A1, okay, for A1 group leader is Abdul Muaz. Okay. Group 2, A2, group leader is Faridul Ashraf. A3, siapa yang first tu group leader? Lim Lita. Okay. B1, Muhammad Azim. B2, Muhammad Ammar, sorry. B3, Nur Azhar. So all this is the group leader. Is that okay? Ada tak puas hati? Ada bangkangan? Or you want to be your own group leader?
It's okay, Doctor.
Agreed, Agreed. Okay. So please respect the group leader. What I mean is respect is if they ask you to have a meeting or WhatsApp group, just follow, then you can discuss freely in your group. Okay. Okay. The submission has to be in the week 4, 25th May, after Raya. Okay. So what I suggest you to do right now, maybe you can create your small group, either to Telegram or WhatsApp. It's up to you. Up to group leader to take initiative and then to communicate between you. Boleh? And then macam mana lagi ni? Maybe I suggest you can create up to you to create your own group, either you Telegram or WhatsApp. It's up to you. But at the end of the day, during the week 5, during the 25th May, each group need to submit one report. So A1, it means Abdul Muaz need to submit the report to me. Group A2, Faridul Ashraf need to submit the report to me. And so on. Is it clear?
Clear, sir. About the lab, the engine performance, which lab is basically the engines done?
So we have the Automotive Lab in the block P21.
Okay.
We have various of engine tests. Okay. We have the Automotive Development Center. We have that as well in the block P21.
Okay.
So we have a couple of engine dyno that do all these tests. Are you in UTM or at your home?
I'm at home.
Oh, okay.
I'm just wondering of asking the lab just in case that since we do I wanted to go to UTM and sort of like observe the equipments there.
Sure.
Yes, will that be okay?
Yeah, if you can attend to UTM, but I'm not sure how because final year student, yes, they're in ETM, so they can come to lab and then doing their research. Yeah, that's possible. But for, because you're third year, right? I'm not sure either you can come or not. So if you can come here and then if the guard allow you to come in, so you can come and then look around and see what the setup that we have.
Okay.
Is that Muhammad Fahim, right?
Yes, faham.
Where you staying?
Taman University.
Jauh tu. Boleh. Kalau nak datang, kalau boleh masuk lah. Terus pergi blok E21. Nak jumpa saya pun beritahu je kat technician ke apa. If you can ask technician you want to see me, then I can show to you.
Okay.
What else? Okay, any other question?
Doctor,
Yes.
just little bit above of the PDF part. Can you go?
Sorry?
The group list, Doctor.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Just little bit up.
Yeah.
Little bit up, Doctor. Yeah.
Right.
Here we have module 1. So module 1 we have 1, 2, 3, 4 date. So this 4 date means that all 4 module 1 we have to submit only one full report on 25th May. Only one full report. Doctor.
Okay, good question. Yes. This is module 1, right? So for example, today I just give you a briefing. No need to do anything. So after this, maybe maybe next week, your group, for example, in one group, you can do your own discussion how to come out with the report. Okay? What is the introduction? What is the content of introduction? What is the content of the objective that you need to put in? The methodology. What is the equation? So that you need to do. Then probably by next week or so, I will provide the raw data. Okay? Then week 3, once I give you raw data, not necessarily you need to complete all the analysis during 4th of May. Okay? So you can plan your time. Maybe you can all together start on the 18 May. So during 18 May, when you have all the raw data, you can analysis together because you already know the equation and everything, right? So you can do it together. Maybe you can split into you give tasks to the some of you. Maybe 2% work on the speed from 1,000 to 3,000 RPM. Maybe from 4,000 RPM to 7,000 RPM. Maybe another 2 of you working on that. So up to you. Okay, and then at last week, 25th May. So this is where all the reports are supposed to be integrated and then to be submitted to me. So in other words, only one report will be submitted in the final week, which is 25th May. All right, is it clear?
Yes, Doctor, clear. Thank you so much.
Okay then. Any other question? Okay. If no question, I think we will stop here first. I will share this. I will share this slide to in the Telegram as a baseline for you to study, and then I believe you can put some of the reports. So maybe next week, maybe we will see again. Maybe about 1 hour, for example, like this. So at least you can ask me what is the detail you want to know, and then I will share some of the detail to you. All right. Okay, guys. If no question ending, we will stop here. See you next week. Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
See you. Bye.